This is our current job in Madrona, and we're going through the color process. It's a large remodel, 10,000 square foot home. We'd painted the owner's previous home for them 15 years ago, and primarily it's going to be one color. It's going to be an off-white, and on site it's very hard to evaluate the color. Number one, it's a construction site. Number two, everything's being pulled down. In addition, the one place that has the most light is right on Lake Washington with a water view, so the sky is amplifying light off the water. And so even though we've tested out the color C2 coconut in different products to establish the sheen that we want, it reads differently in different light. So we're going to take it to the next step and mock up a larger color sample at our shop on a 4x8 sheet and do a little build out of the trim, because here the customer is interested in a pop using the same color between the trim, which is going to be Holland Lac Fine Paints of Europe satin, and a flatter sheen on the walls. So let me show you what we're dealing with in the space that's making it hard to evaluate. And this is one of the rooms. And you know, there's a large remodel underway. And here's a couple of our samples when we were sampling products. This is Benjamin Moore Advanced, the drawdown card and the paint out on the trim.
Not today. It looks like it's
Pratt & Lambert Cellutone, Fine Paints of Europe Holland Lac, and Benjamin Moore Satin and Pervo. Originally it was a blind test without the labels, and the customer likes the higher sheen of the Holland Lac, and she likes how hard it is. So originally when she looked at the color, she read the Holland Lac as too light versus the sample, but as it's cured over a week, the color has sort of shifted. And here's the body of water I described. That's Lake Washington. We have the sky, and we have the reflection off the water, which amplifies the light. We had an original test in a room that we began prepping, but even with artificial lighting, it's impossible to evaluate the proper color. So here's one of the rooms that we've completed prepping, and it was impossible to read the right color in this room. This is some of our prep work. We've sanded everything down. We've added Bondo to improve the substrate. It's not a complete restoration. We're not taking it all the way down to bare wood. Where all the white lines are obviously it's caulk. We don't want any open gaps. This this decorative faux finish was applied in the 80s, and 80s or early 90s. It's going away. We're going an all white scheme in the space. We've gone through a process where we've used magazines like Traditional Home and Architectural Digest for the customer to show us what she'd like for a finish, and that's how we established our test colors. So I'm here today. I'm going to be taking the product that we want, which is the Holland Lac, back to the shop. Here's some of our portable lighting that we use for our prep work in order to light the space, so we're make sure our filling is to the level that we want, and we get all the caulk areas. Of course, once we put a primer on everything, it's going to show up more before our Holland Lac. Good for prep work. Was not good enough to evaluate the color. Let's give it a turn on here. The reflection off the water, it's going to read much differently than for example, in this stairwell that doesn't have nearly as much natural light. It'll have artificial lighting, but we want it to work all together as a scheme. And we're in it to test as many colors as we need. To make a happy customer. This is our stairwell, and it's and this will show a very typical build out throughout this house, which is wood paneling. And this is actually not a wainscot panel, but we have GWB panels inset, and our goal is to create a sample that'll show what the trim will look like and what the drywall will look like in a different sheen. Very typical of many buildings where the light is completely different on both sides of the building. So this is the west elevation of the residence. So all these windows projecting a lot of light into the building. But it's a different light than what we have on the water side. So first of all, we have lots of vegetation. And then we have light from the sky. So everything on the west elevation of this residence, the light will be quite a bit different than it is on the east elevation of the building, and all the windows. Here's the east elevation. We have all the sky, hardly any trees blocking any of the light, and then of course the light reflecting off Lake Washington. The pool a little bit, but not nearly as much. And so you see all the windows on both floors. All this light will be dramatically amplified versus the west elevation. And then we have a lower third level basement with hardly any color at all. It'll mostly be lit by artificial lighting. So our challenge will be to create a color, or select a color to be used throughout as the main color of the house. That's what. Here we are back at the shop. GWB panels, 4 feet by 8 feet. This is where we're going to mock up our live sample. A little bit easier to evaluate away from the site. We have lots of light. Our walls are all painted a neutral gray. Let's take a closer look at exactly what we're working on. Here's the stock that I brought from the job site. We're going to use those as a control. The job is going to be a combination of new and old. This is Andy, and he's drawing.
I'm drawing pictures. We're doing a crown mock-up. This is a 3-piece crown detail at the top, and then kind of create a big classic picture for one of our customers. We'll bring them down to the shop to go through colors and sheens.
Pen and paper, that's old analog. Wood, trim pieces, glue.
Just kind of getting set up now and should have this done in an hour or two.
Great. Compressor. Here's our chop saw on wheels. And if you guys didn't know where we are, we're located here in Soto. And if you look very closely on top of that, the truck's hiding it, but that's Starbucks World Headquarters on First. That's my dumpster. That's Anna, my aide de camp. She's leaving for Los Angeles. She's going to be a famous actress.
Not right now.
And she'll
Going to
never,
my car.
she's not leaving right now for Los Angeles. These guys are working on some other things, but we may as well find out what they're working on. This is Gabrielle.
I'm learning how to clean out a pump.
Are you? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Gabrielle's teaching you how to clean out. Was this a pump you guys used for Holland Lac? Hand me that can. So this is Gabrielle's job that he's finishing up. Was this the trim
Yeah.
in Moxie?
Maxi.
Okay. This is in 100%
Cabinet colors.
Moxie. Have her turn around, Travis. This is Travis. He's Andy's right hand man. Andy's assistant. You've been here how long?
3 weeks now.
How's it been? How's it been so
I
far?
love it.
Cool.
good
You've
work.
been taking some. You've been helping out with a lot of things and taking great pictures.
Good.
Looks like we're multitasking here. Gabrielle, this is the door. This is the door frame, right? That we're priming. Okay. And this is the door right here.
Yeah.
Okay. This is another project that we're working on in Laurelhurst. It was a door that's going to be replaced, and we're gonna paint it in eco. And we matched their existing Sherwin-Williams paint scheme because we're not painting the whole building. But we got a nice new kitchen door to replace an old kitchen door, and we are going to put Fine Paints of Europe Holland Lac on it. This is our Seattle Heights project, and it's not uncommon on a job to have some changes at the end. So here, for example, we have a couple pieces. Gabrielle, were these replacement pieces?
Robin?
Were these replacement pieces?
Yeah. No, those are, for some reason we didn't find it when we did all the cabinets.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Those
so-
stuck in-
Okay,
somewhere.
we had 100 pieces there, right?
Yeah. and-
Okay, so the error rate on this job was 2%. We had less than 2%. We painted 100 pieces. We weren't the ones that built the cabinet, but these two other pieces were bundled up and stored away before we arrived on site. We discovered it when everything was being put back. It's a little bit more work for us to do this, but we're in it to finish it. So, Gabrielle, have these been top coated or just primed?
That's primer.
Just primer?
2 coats primer.
2 coats of primer? Okay. So they're right here with our rack hanging system. And we're doing these off site because the job site right now is almost finished, and we moved production over here to our shop. Let's have a closer look at these. This is my wall, my color wall, the exact opposite of my office. So I can look at these colors because they're on my mind every day. Gray background. This is a little bit darker for some contrast, but this is where we'll typically put colors up. Sometimes customers will come and want to look at the colors here away from the site. We always have an open door, and this just reminds me of what we're working on.